Welcome back, folks. Keith Hershey here, and I am going to show you something I've been working on. Alright, let's get everything up. Okay. Alright. So, in some of my games, if any of you have been following, especially the Loudwater series, quite a while back, one of our adventurers, played by Dennis, his character Cade, decided to buy into the old Burnsite Inn. I think it was like this party's third or fourth adventure. And underneath there, they found a huge labyrinth of tunnels and rooms and whatnot. And the people that were running it were attacked by some creatures and were killed. So there was no one left there to own it. Burnsite Inn was way out in the middle of some wastelands. All about them were a bunch of old ruins. There was a major road that ran through there, but the nearest towns were at least a day's ride in any direction. So the heirs to the owners, they decided to sell it to Cade, and Cade decided to spend his money into buying the inn and start running it like a business. So I took the Downtime Activities and I started working on that little by little, and recently him, along with another one of my players, Truman, who plays Ghost, who just inherited a Thieves Guild. So he's going to be running a Thieves Guild, and on top of that, he's going to be running a brothel to kind of hide what's going on underneath in the Thieves Guild. But they recently told me that they liked the new system I came up with, but they were looking for a little bit more detailed and a little bit more involvement. So over the last couple days, I have been working on creating some tables. Now in my games, between every adventure, I usually give about 2 weeks downtime. So that way time means something. Unless perhaps we're right in the middle of an adventure that's going to keep continuing. That's the only exception to that. So, over the last couple sessions, if you've been following, I've been, kind of having everyone tell me what they've been doing over the last 2 weeks, and they've just been kind of making it up. And then as far as Cade's Inn and Truman's or Ghost's Thieves Guild, I've been just kind of randomly generating some profit. Well, they wanted to take a little bit more control of that. So, I worked some things out, and I took a heavy emphasis of what I've done from the Ultimate Campaign book that is put out by Paizo Publishing. So I use that as a heavy basis, but I did my own tweaks, and for running inns and stuff, I'm not using the influence in that. I'm just kind of keeping it a little more simple. So basically, it's just a matter of making money, but there are some adventure hooks thrown in there, as well as ability checks and whatnot. So, anyhow, let's take a further look at what I have done. Alright, so I'm going to show you the one that I made for Cade, played by Dennis. It's a little more involved than Ghost's one. Alright, so I made a note, which I can share out to Cade when he's logged on, or any other player. Whenever they're on, all you gotta do is drag the shield icon, drop it on their character, and that note will be shared only with the player that you shared it with. So, just a side note, you can use that to set up secret agendas for specific characters or whatnot. Alright, so anyhow, let's look at running the Burnsite Inn. Now, Cade has set up quite a number of things within his inn. So he has the inn where people stay the night, sleep. He has a tavern where he sells drinks and food. He recently built some stables, so there's some stables there. He also has the dungeon down below that he's converted into a museum, so that's there. And he also does sell some general goods, and he's also a notable map maker of the regions and whatnot. So he also sells maps. Alright, so let's dig in. So first off, when he's not there, because he can't be there all the time, he's got to have, some managers and whatnot. So, he's got an innkeeper that's going to run him about 75 gold pieces every 2 weeks. And I broke it into 2 weeks because that's the amount of downtime I give in between each session. He's got a stable master that's going to run his stable for him. And then he's got a museum director that runs the museum underneath the inn. Now, I didn't put a tavern in there because the innkeeper should be able to handle the rooms, the kitchen, the bar, and everything. So that's why we kept it at 1. And then I made out some teams that he has. And as we go, we'll flesh this out some more. But his inn team currently comprises of 2 maids, 2 bouncers, 2 servant girls, 1 bartender, and 2 cooks. And I just rounded it off. That's going to run him 250 gold pieces every 2 weeks for that entire team to run. And then the stables team is going to consist of 2 stable hands and 12 horses. You're probably figuring, well, why would horses cost anything? Well, you gotta pay for feed and tack and everything for the stables there, so he can run them out. His museum team consists of 4 guides, which will cost another 300 gold pieces every 2 weeks. So once we add all that up, every 2 weeks he has to pay 1,125 gold pieces. And then we're going to have some events that will come up. Now, some of it he may pay out of his pocket when he's out adventuring. And that's the other thing I've noticed, is the characters are at a level where they are making a lot of money. They're not necessarily making a lot of magic items, but they were getting to the point where they didn't have any money sinks. So this is a way of putting a money sink in there. And just to show you how much money Dennis has soaked into this inn, he's also been adventuring with another person in the party, Anhelm, from the very beginning. Now, Anhelm is a barbarian, and through his adventures already, look at the money he's racked up. He's got over 6,000 gold, almost 500 platinum, and he hasn't been able to spend it yet. So I'm hoping to hook him into something soon, but we'll see. I'm just leaving that as the player's choice. So if you take a look at that, now let's look at Cade. If we go down to his inventory here, and this is how much money Cade has. He's got only 1,500, and he has just under 400 platinum. So he's put quite a bit of money into his inn as far as upgrading it. He just spent quite some money putting in some stables. He's currently putting some money in there because he knows eventually it will give him some return on his money. And it's a place for him to spend money. Okay, so enough of that. Alright, so now that we know how much money we've spent, and then what I'm going to do is at the end of our play sessions, I will go into running these events for those of them that are running businesses. That way they can see the events that have happened over the 2 weeks before the next session. they can make their plans, and then the next session when we come up and they talk about what they've done, they have a general idea of some of the events that have happened, and they can describe and they can inject their own flavor into what's been going on with the Burnsite Inn and whatnot, just to add a little bit more color and depth to our games. At the beginning of each session, I'm still going to have the characters roll personal events that have happened during their downtime. Alright, so now that we've got the events, so what I will do to start this is I'm going to put in chat minus 1125 GP. Okay, now these events I set up are, he's going to run one for each of the different systems he has in his business. He has an inn, a tavern, stables, his dungeon/museum, and he also says general goods and maps. So he's got 5 events he's got to roll for every week. So basically for the downtime, he's going to roll 2 events for each week. And let's see if he makes any money or if he loses money. Alright, so we're going to start with the inn event. So we'll go up to the tables here. And see here, inn events. And all you got to do is, as a DM, you can go up to the inn events when you're doing this, and I would just drag this shield icon and drop it onto Cade, and then he would see it and he would roll. Let's see what we get. The first event, roll on the tavern events table. Okay, so we're going to close that real quick. Go over the tavern events table. Okay, so let's roll. So he got a 29. So he had a bar brawl that first week. One insult against someone's lineage or beard or beauty, and the next thing you know, there's a fight. Word of the brawl spreads. Help spread your tavern's infamy. You gain 1d4 times 100 gold. So let's roll that. So you made 100. So that's profit. So I'll take that off of there. So he's only at minus 1,025 gold pieces. And let's see what else is there. Attempt a DC 20 athletics, acrobatics, persuasion, or intimidate check. Alright, so let's bring up Cade. Go to his skills, and he's going to do acrobatics. He's pretty good with that. To try and nimbly scoot in between this bar brawl and try and break it up. And he rolled an 18. He needed a DC of 20, so that's a failure. If you fail, you lose 1d3 times 100 gold. Uh-oh. So he just lost 100, so we are back at 1125 because of the damage to the building. So that means he was able to, he tried to get in the middle of the fight, break it up, but he was unsuccessful. Chairs and tables were broken in the midst of it. Okay, so that's the first event for the inn. Let's go back to the inn. So that's the first week. Second week, what happens? Oops. There. Okay, 51. Oh, we're going back to the tavern events. Interesting. So we're going to end up having 4 from this one. Alright, 9. Tavern events table, a drinking contest. 2 patrons challenge each other to a drinking contest. They demand the good stuff in order to make the contest count. You gain 1d6 times 100 gold. So you just made 100 gold. So he's back down to only owing 1,025 gold pieces. Alright. Okay. So now we got 2 more events to do on the tavern, because we are now on the doing the tavern events, because the other 2 counted for the inn. Alright, 22. Shenanigans. In some businesses, shenanigans would be considered a scandal, but in a tavern, these ribald activities are a boon. Perhaps someone important met with a prostitute, Or maybe someone's spouse got a little friendly with an employee. Attempt a deception or persuasion check, DC 20. Let's see here. Deception +1, persuasion +1. So he'll go with persuasion, even though it's not that good. And he got a 20. Okay. So he was able to succeed. If you succeed, you treat the incident with the proper discretion. You gain 1d6 times 100 gold. So we got 500, so we are only in the hole 525 gold pieces at the moment. And someone involved gives you a tip of 1d3 times 100 gold. Oh, okay. So there's another 100, so he's only in the hole 425. If you fail, there are no negative repercussions for you or your business. Okay. Alright, next one. 21. Oh, we got shenanigans again. Alright. I have a funny feeling he's not going to make it, though. Let's see, persuasion. We got a 19. Just barely fails, but there's no negative impact. Okay, so we're done with those. Okay, so next up we have his stables. Let's see what happened with his stables over the last 2 weeks. 35. News has spread about your business. Business is good. 2d4 times 100 gold earned. So he made another 400. So he's only in the hole 25 gold pieces. And you guys will see in some of these, he could lose big time in this. So, alright, so the next stable event. 73. Crazed horse. One of the horses in your stable goes berserk. Perhaps it smells a predator. It dislikes another horse, or someone tried to steal it and fled. You must attempt a DC 18 animal handling check to calm the horse down. Alright, so let's see. Got a 19. He was able to calm it down. If you fail, the horse runs amok, costing you 1d6 times 100 gold, and there's a 25 chance of having an immediate runaway event. Alright, so he just saved himself some money. So he's still at negative 25 gold. He didn't make anything, but he prevented something bad happening. Okay, so that's the stables. Next up is his dungeon. Alright, so let's go to my tour of the dungeon. Alright, let's see what happened the first week. 62. Archaeology. One of your customers is a retired archaeologist. Make an Arcana, Religion, or History check. DC 20. Let's see here. Arcana, History, Religion. Oh, they're all bad. Let's do Arcana. And he failed with a 3. Success means it adds notoriety to your business. 1d8 times 100 gold. Failure means the results are still being determined. 1d4 times 100. Failure by 10, we failed miserably, means the archaeologist triggered some explosive ruins. Damage will cost 1d6 times 100. Uh-oh. So he just lost 200 gold. So we are in the hole 225 gold pieces. Alright, let's see what happened the second week. 20. Trap goes off. I guess we're trapped still down in the dungeon. Make a medicine check, DC 25. Alright. Ooh, he got a crit. So, even though he didn't get 25, you rolled a 20. I would say that would be a success. And how I treat anyone who rolls a natural 20 on the results means it's an automatic success and you double the reward. Alright, so success means it only costs 1d6 times 100 gold pieces to administer medical aid. And you double the reward since we're saying he did succeed, even though it was only 22 because he got a critical success. So we're going to half that instead. since this is a negative. So we'll do only 1d3 times 100. So he's in the hole 325 gold. Uh-oh. Alright, so the last thing he has is his general goods and maps. Let's hope he's able to make some money. Alright, first week, 39. Rush on maps. There's a sudden rush on your maps. Make an acrobatics check DC 25 to quickly make more to meet demand. Alright. Got a 19. That is a failure. Success means you made an extra 1d8 times 100 gold. Failure means you still ran out, but still made 1d4 times 100 gold. Failure by 10 means you only made 125. Alright, let's see what he made. 400. Alright, so he's ahead of the game at this point with 75 gold pieces. Okay, so he's got one more week to see if he is ahead of the game. Oops. Okay, yeah, that's right. Alright, adventurers, stocking up. Adventurers have heard tales of the ruins near Burnsite Inn. They begin stocking up to set out on adventures. Make an insight check, DC 18, to stock up before they buy everything up. Alright. We got a 15, it's a failure. Success means 1d6 times 100 gold pieces. Failure means you only made 200 gold pieces. Failure by 10 means they ran out before they could stock up. Roll 1d2 times 100 gold. So he did make 200. So over the 2-week period, with lots of ups and downs, he still managed to bring in 275 gold pieces. But let's take a look at some of the extremes on some of these tables. Let's look at the inn. Alright, some of the extremes here. We have Talk of the Region. Your inn is a beacon of safety and warmth. Been doing great. He makes a check on either persuasion, history, or performance to DC 25 to steer those rumors favorably. And if so, he can make some pretty good money. See, that success means you made 2d4 times 1,000 gold. So he can make some real good money on that one. Going back down to the bad side, violence. There's a 60% chance that this is a simple brawl in the common room, 40% chance that someone has attempted actual harm against you, employees, or guests. And you could do that on there. And some of these events will actually trigger some adventure hooks that are planted in there. So this one here, if you rolled the 40% chance, and maybe he doesn't make a successful check to break up the brawl, he can attempt to intercede, and I can, sometime in between the game, I can set up an encounter and run through it, or we could do it through Three-Gutter of the Mine. Let's look at another one, the stable events. Here's another good one for adventure hooks. Predators. Wild animals or monsters have snuck into your stable. This could mean something as minor as a few giant rats, or a wild dog, or as major as a wyvern or a young dragon. The GM chooses the creature. So that could easily branch off into an adventure hook that the characters could ward off that. So that is basically the system I have made for the Burnsite Inn. And while we're here, let's look at a couple other things. Now, I'm still working on this system a little bit. Now, down towards the bottom here, I'm also working on an employee level system where it's another money sink. So they could spend 2,500 gold pieces and they could level up one of their employees that they have working for them. And by doing so, what I'm currently thinking is for each level they increase, different employees will have different skills that they give a bonus to on the skill checks. So let's say we look at Harry, the bartender at the inn, and I'm going to say he's good at persuasion. So what I'm thinking is, if he would level up Harry to level 1 from level 0 by spending 2,500 gold pieces, that would give him a +1 on all persuasion checks on these charts. So that's the idea there. And it would be cumulative too. So he could level him up, up to level 3 or whatnot. Or maybe he has a maid who's good at deception, or maybe she's not totally upfront, and she's also kind of works as a guild member to keep an eye and steal stuff out of people's rooms. Maybe I would give her a skill of deception or stealth or something like that. So that's what I'm looking at doing. So if you have any ideas when I upload this to YouTube, please by all means let me know your thoughts and add your suggestions. Another thing here that I have is I'm looking at putting in some huge money sinks here. So if the players are really enjoying this system, I have another thing here on the bottom, which you can see, where they can expand one of your businesses to another location or town with the DM's approval at a cost of 65,000 gold. So that puts in a pretty big money sink in there, but it gives them a chance to start running and expanding, if they want to do that. So now, when I say one of your businesses, in this case with Cade, he's got several businesses in there. He's got an inn, he's got a tavern, stables, he's got like a museum and general goods. So he would only be able to pay 65,000 to start something up, and he could take one of those businesses to expand. And then once he gets it up and running, it would be a little cheaper to add a little expansions on to that particular business. But that's that one. Now, let me have you take a look at Ghost's brothel / Thieves Guild. Alright, so let's open up his little note. And he's got 2 lieutenants that are currently running his guild that are level 2. He's got a madam that runs the brothel for him, and then he's got an alchemist that he just got done hiring to brew him probably some poisons. Alright. And then he's got some teams here. He's got a Thieves Guild, which contains 14 other members besides the lieutenants. Consists of 8 purses, 5 robbers, 1 bookkeeper, bureaucrat, to hide your monies from authorities. And that's going to cost him 250 gold pieces every 2 weeks. And for his ladies, he's got 6 of them. That's going to cost him gold pieces every 2 weeks, giving him a total upkeep of 1,020 gold pieces every 2 weeks. Alright, so with that, let's take a look at some of his events. Alright, so put it in here so we know what see if he makes any money. Alright, so he's going to make 2 rolls on each one of his events. He's got a Thieves Guild one and a brothel one. Alright, so let's do the Thieves Guild first. Right. 53. Crime spree. Lady Luck has her eye on the settlement's criminals. Your guild earns 2d6 times 100 gold. And I have it to where it automatically rolls, which I'm starting to build in. So he made 900 gold on that one. So very profitable week there. So he's only down 120 gold pieces. Alright, let's see what else happens. 33, another crime spree. So he made another 500. So if my math is correct, that means he's hit of the game by 380 gold pieces. Alright, let's see how the brothel fares. Okay. 79. Oh, he's rolling good. Wild tonight. Business is good. Your horrors turn the week into a wild party. Make a performance, deception, or persuasion check. DC 15. Alright, so let's check that out. Yeah, deception. Oh, he's got a good roll there. 14, which is actually a failure. Success means you earn 1d6, whereas a failure means you only earn 1d3 times 100. So he made another 100, so we're up 480 gold pieces. One more event. 36. Business is good. Make a performance, deception, or persuasion check. And we'll do another deception. Got a 20. So he made that. Success means spring must be in the air. Your girls are making your clients happy. You make 1d4 times 100 gold. So he made another 200. Failure means you only made 75. Now he got a lot of good rolls there. So let me show you some of the bad things that could happen to him. On the brothel here, one of the worst ones here is this contagion. Disease breaks out among your whores. Make a medicine check, DC 18. Success means you only lost out on 200 gold. Failure means you lost 350 gold. Failure by 10 or more results in a total shutdown costing you 1,500 gold pieces. Or here's another one, arson. Someone has it out for you. Make a perception check at DC 30. Success means you caught the individual responsible before you did serious damage. Failure costs you repairs in the amount of 1,200. See, some of these things can really hit you hard. Some of the good ones, like there's a famous visitor. There is much talk that a famous visitor has decided to reserve the entire brothel for the week. Make a check. Success means his lavish tastes bring in buckets of profits. You earn lots of money. Failure means he only drops 1d4. And then Thieves events. Let's see here. The good one here is the big heist. You have the opportunity to take on a risky but profitable job. If you accept, attempt skill checks, DC 25. If you succeed, he can make in some pretty good money. If you fail, the guild loses money. And if he fails by 10 or more, 25% chance that the team that is involved in the heist is captured. Treated as an entrapment event, which we take a look at that. If they got entrapped, he would have to spend another 500 gold pieces to get the team out of the jail. If he doesn't, they are imprisoned or executed within 1d10 days. Now he could try and break them out, which would put in an adventure hook. But if he doesn't break them out of jail, or he lets them rot in jail, it'll cost him 1,500 gold pieces, and he will have lost that team for letting it happen. The word would leak out that he doesn't take care of his men. And here's something really drastic. This is the worst one, is a mutiny. The members of your guild have had it with your poor choices of targets and operations. Make an intimidation, insight, or persuasion check at DC 18. Success means that you were able to restore order within your guild and oust the troublemakers. Failure means no money is earned. Failure by 10 means you lost complete control of the guild. So there's some pretty drastic consequences, but there's some really big payoffs too in these charts. And of course it's weighted towards the center, so these like mutiny events and stuff like that don't happen as often. So anyhow, that's pretty much a look into my downtime business activity for my players that I'm currently running with. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you all have any suggestions or tweaks or whatnot you think I should add, or maybe some interesting events that you think would work well with these adventures. Once I upload it to YouTube, just comment in the video down below or in the comment section. Be glad to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Anyhow, I think that's all I have to show you. So anyhow, happy gaming, and we'll see you all soon. Take care.